Hello, welcome to part 8 of this Deja Vu review. So, where I left off at is the fact that we have been through so much, and with all that we have been through, we are very skeptical of the people that we allow into our lives. And because we are kingdom wise, and some of the kingdom houses are like this, we're skeptical on who we allow in. And because we are skeptical of who we allow in, and due to the fact that we know that where it is that our God ordained spouses have been, the industries, the career fields, the locations, they've been surrounded by a bunch of vipers. And we don't understand, especially if we already have seen and perceived certain activities that they have done that were ungodly, and that they have connected themselves to certain activities that were out of the order of the Lord's will for their life, and that they got mixed up in things, and we don't know. It's like, I don't know who's coming in. I don't know what their countenance, their heart posture, if they just are really good with words. And especially when you know that you've dealt with people that have had spirits where they were really good with words, air of godliness and no God in them, you looking at your God ordained spouse side-eyed like, are you a double agent? Like, are you here to help me or are you here to harm me? Think about, if you ever seen the movie The Princess and the Frog, that when the man that was actually her husband came to her the first time, he offered her a deal because he was still in operation in the ways and the thought processes and the paces that the people worked and operated in back in, that he was dealing with. And he was dealing with a shystery voodoo man who ended up turning him into a frog. Some of your God ordained spouses were dealing with sorcerers, people operating in witchcraft, all of this kind of stuff, and you kind of like, I know what exists over there. Are you cool? Are you okay to be around? Is it safe to be around you? What you talking about? Are you legit? Are you for real, or are you a double agent? Am I going to let my guard down with you, and you won't be the one to mess me up? So they head over to her house. She lets them in. She checks for their cat. He goes to the cabinet. He starts taking out the bandages and all that kind of stuff. And see, she's observing all of this. You tell me, if you just been kidnapped, you had a hood over your head, you ain't never seen this man before in your life. He takes you to your house without asking you for directions. You let him in your house, he goes to the cabinet like he been there before. He walking around the house like he knows the place. And you go in the bathroom and they're like, let me get myself cleaned up, having a panic attack. Some of you are spiritually trying to cleanse yourself off from all that you've been through. You're in a little bit of a panic, and some of you, this may not be where you are right now, but when you cross over, this may be where you are. But he met you in your spiritual place, your sacred place. Your home is your sacred space. He done met you in the secret place. He knows how to get you back to your secret place. He drove you back to your secret place. He got you back. I'm going to even say this much. I've had dreams several times of my God ordained spouse in a vehicle driving, whether he picked me up and took me somewhere or he picked me up and he took me home. This is how I know this. Spiritually, they know how to get to your house. Spiritually, they understand where you are. But you don't understand where their spirit is. You don't know if they done mixed something up in the spirit realm. You don't know what spirits or demons that they're carrying, so you cautious. So you got to go in the secret place, your bathroom, your secret altar, the place where you go to be close with God. You go into purification. What's that? Consecration and fasting. Pay attention. In order to get clarity as to, hold up. Should I be trusting this person? They just brought me to my home. He just met me in my secret place. He knew where the healing bandages were for himself. He knew how to find them. He knew how to clean himself off. Should I trust this individual? So she comes back and she's wearing the exact same dress that she wore that when they found her body. He said, don't wear that one. She said, wrong? Why? What's wrong? What's wrong with it? He said, the victim? And that's a red flag right there. Oh, the victim? She was wearing that. Or something similar to that. So I don't think that's a good idea. So you're sitting there like the victim. I don't know, you from Adam. What you mean the victim? Oh, so I'm going to be a victim now, right? And some of you, to them, you've looked like a victim. I'm hearing Maya Angelou again. You've seen me bludgeoned by my circumstance, battered and bruised, in and out of time. A victim to my circumstance. Yes? You have been a victim to the circumstances in which you had to operate in. But at the same time, you like, how you know that? How you know that? And how do you know? And am I going to become a victim of yours now too? Because some of these men have had many women in their bed. Some of these men have had many situations and situationships. And you looking at them like, bruh, can I trust you? I forget what the number is, but it means ability to discernment. And you wondering like, can I trust you? I was listening to yesterday on the radio, Damaged by Her. You've been so damaged in other relationships, your guard is all the way up. So he's still trying to clean himself up. Your goddamn spouse is cleaning himself up. And I have to say this, for some of y'all situations, he's coming to you battered, bruised, shot, injured, bleeding. He needs you to he needs you to take him to your secret place because he needs to heal. But because you got your guards up, well, he's trying to clean himself up and get himself back together. You done put the guard up. She goes and get a gun and comes back and starts yelling at him. And she's like, you ain't the police. You lying. And he said, I am the police. I just told you I was a federal agent. Some of your goddamn spouses have a level of authority in the spirit realm that you do not understand. You ain't ever seen it because all you've ever seen is what you've seen of them in the natural. So she's naturally looking at him and she's like, you don't look like no cop to me. You just brought me to my house. I don't know if you a murderer or not. And you looking at them because you're seeing what you see. You don't see no commander in no spirit. You don't see a general, a military sniper in the spirit. You don't see none of that. Some of y'all been praying to your God-ordained spouse because the way they look in the natural, you be like, I gotta cover this man all the way up because he obviously isn't operating in them terms. And God's saying, no, 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 no. That one is actually a commander in the spirit. That one is my David. That one's the one that's got a heart for me. That's the one. And you like, I don't know if I believe you. I don't know if I believe you. She says, no, you didn't ask me any questions. You didn't take no statements. You knew where my house was, and you went through my closet. Who are you? Hear me with your spiritual ears. You didn't ask me no questions. Spiritually, they gonna come in. They didn't ask you nothing. They ain't say nothing to you. They just knew where to take you and do with what you that the Lord told them to do. He ain't say nothing. Didn't take no statement. He didn't even inquire to you about anything. He just started moving. Some of you God today spouses are gonna come in silence. They ain't even gonna tell you what they know. They ain't even gonna ask you anything about this operation. This what God. Some of them they're not gonna say nothing about that. And you sitting up there like, does he know? Is he cool? Is it all right? Are we okay? I mean, he ain't even talking. What? How do I know I can trust this man? He ain't even saying nothing. I can't gauge whether he's trustworthy or not. What the hell? You knew where my house was. You found me in the spirit realm. And for some of you, remember you felt that he was looking at you in the spirit? You went through my closet, meaning they spiritually know a whole lot of information about you they shouldn't know about. You know how when people have skeletons in their closet, they spiritually know a bunch of stuff about you personally that they should not know. Much like you do, because God already done told you to. Personal information about them. Who are you? Who are you? This is what you're saying to them, but in some ways they thinking the same thing about you. Spiritually. They're like, you didn't ask me no questions. And some of these people, for the status that they're at, the fact that you ain't even asking no questions towards them makes them suspicious of you. You didn't take no statements from them. You knew where they lived in the spirit. And you've done pulled every skeleton up out their closet in the spirit realm. And they still trying to scratch their head to ask, wait, who the heck is you? You and your God and spouse are mirrors to one another. You're parallel in some cases. The feelings that you have towards them, they have towards you in some ways. I just wanted to add that in there. He holds up his hands in defense. But think about this. When you hold up your hands, and my coach made this evident. When you hold up your hands, that's a show of reverence to the Lord, a show of worship, a humbling. He's humbling himself before you because he's trying to show you that God brought him here. Okay? And he says, I'm Doug Carlin. I'm an ATF agent, part of a special organizational group tracking the man that's trying to kill you. For some of you, because you've seen no evidence from your God-ordained spouse that would show that they were ever working as a double agent in the career, that field that they were in, to you like, you's an officer? You's an agent? You a commander? You a military? What you mean? You lying. You are lying, right? What you mean? You telling me you're not who I thought you were from what everybody showed me and from what I can see externally of you? You're not that person? You're not the person that we see on this and that and the other thing? You're not the person? You're telling me that you were an agent all the time? You're telling me that you were working in a task force undercover for the CIA or the whatever? Or let's think about in Now You See Me. You were within the secret of God's society. God's society. Not the secret, but God's special agent. Working with Jesus. And God sent you in undercover. And you've been a commander all the time, but you've been at deep cover. Is that what I'm supposed to believe now? Are you telling me? She said, how do I know? How do I know? I had a hood over my head. A lot of us have been blinded to what's been going on with our God-ordained spouses. How do I know you telling the truth? How do I know that the enemy didn't send you? How do I know? She was like, how do I know? I had a hood over my head. You could be him. How do I know? You wasn't the one that was messing with my head the whole time. How do I know that you weren't using witchcraft against me? How do I know that you weren't trying to come against me or set me up? How do I know that because you didn't trust me and the people that you was hanging out with over there didn't send you as a double agent to attack me and set me up so they could kill me? How do I know? How do I know? He said, think about it, Claire. You scratched the man's face. Do I have a scratch on my face? For some of you, the demons and the things that you've been warring against, you left very specific damage upon these individuals in the spirit. For the familiar spirits, the sorcerers, the people that were coming into your spirit dreams, coming into your sending attacks against you, sending attacks against your body, your mind, your spirit, your thoughts, your thought processes, and your everything. All of this. You did some pretty bad damage to these individuals. But he said, look at me. I want you to look at me. Am I damaged right now? Do you see any injuries on me? Now, let's just have a moment of spiritual understanding. In the spirit realm, you can cut somebody in the spirit realm and they'll heal immediately. So that actually doesn't matter. Unless the Lord wants them to have a scar, they won't have a scar. So, in that element, but due to the fact, this is more that element of you already have a spiritual connection with this individual. Because you have a spiritual connection individual, he's trying to tell you, I'm not a familiar spirit that is a demon that looks like me. I'm me. For some of you, your God-ordained spouse has come to you as themselves in your dreams. And they're them. And you're like, wait, is this really you? Hold on. And you know, because you felt it. It felt different. It felt like when you looked in their eyes, you were looking in their eyes. It wasn't a scenario where everything was two-dimensional. This individual was 3D. This individual was not part of the background, was not just a player in your dream. They were physically, spiritually there with you. And this is what he's trying to say. I'm here with you. It really is me. Just think about it. Can you imagine being face to face with your kingdom spouse? Being insecure about him because you don't know if you can trust him? And in that moment, with all those emotions that are going through you, for as long as we have stood, for as long as we have waited, for as long as we have had to deal with, some of us just want to rest. But in the way that God's going to bring this thing together, that it may be a series of chaos, maybe not so much on your end, but maybe his. And when he pulls you into this thing, you're going to be like, oh my God, there's this insanity. What's going on over here? Can I trust you? I mean, you sure you ain't over here using me for my gift or something? Because you in a bad situation? Bro, what's up? Is it safe? Are you safe? Am I going to be safe with you? None of this makes sense. And y'all know it don't make sense. You've been feeling how unsense-like this feels. And finally, now it's here and it's happening and it's legitimate, and you looking sideways at it because you're like, hey, I've let people in my life before. The enemy started operating through them. I don't know you like that, and I know that you were associated with people that have a bunch of demons in them. And I don't know the demons that you still carry. Bruh, how do I know I can trust you? How do I know that the spirits that you're dealing with, the next time you smoke, or the next time you drink, or the next time you do this, or the next time you do that, they're not going to come up and try to attack me? How do I know? How do I know somebody ain't going to work some witchcraft on you, and the next thing I know, you yelling at me like I done did something wrong? How do I know I can trust you? Because I've noticed when the enemy wanted to use people, he would wait to use somebody as soon as their guard was down because they were drinking or smoking or this or that, which you do outside of my presence. How do I know? Maybe you were in a room full of people that were smoking or drinking or what have you, and it rubbed off on you and it gave the enemy a clear door to access you. How do I know I'm safe? How do I know I'm safe from that? You tell me. He said, what would you do if you had something important to tell someone, but you knew that they would never believe you? What would you do? That's a lot of where we are. The way God has laid these kingdom marriages out to us, it's the most important conversation that we could ever have with this individual. But you knew, and you know, that this is the hardest revelation to ever have to deliver to somebody, because you don't know if they're going to believe you. You wouldn't know what to do. You don't know what to do now. And for them, it's the same. Because of how God's been dealing with them, they don't know how to even explain and articulate what they've been through, that God has put them through, in order to tell you properly. So what are they supposed to do? How are they supposed to act or react in this scenario? Huh? She said, I would try. You never know what someone might believe. And for some of us, that's exactly how we feel. Because of the way God has been revealing them to us. To them, they think that God has just been talking to them, maybe. And the way God's been talking to you, that they will never understand the fact that you already know already. You get it. You already know. God's already done told you. God's already done revealed the truth of that thing. So they don't understand that you might actually believe them when they come along. And then when you have the moment of understanding that this individual is telling you the truth and that it's safe, you can finally let your guard down. She drops the gun, or she puts the gun down at her side, which allows him to walk up to her. You're going to be able to let him in. He's going to be able to approach you, and you're going to be able to let him in. He's going to be able to take the gun from you, which is your guard, and get you to put it down. You're going to be able to put your guards down in front of this man. And when you know that you know that you know that he's finally telling you, you're safe, you really are safe, I'm not going to hurt you, and you know, that he's not going to hurt you, that's when you're going to let your guard down. Some of you have not cried a real cry since this journey started because you didn't know who you can trust with these emotions. But when he shows you his truth and himself, the floodgates that you have been holding in all this time are finally going to break. It's finally going to break. And she reaches up and hugs him. You're going to pull him in. You're going to hold on to him. You're going to hug him. Because you know you're safe. So they go in the bathroom and she helps him clean up. So why are you the only one that came to stop him? Or can stop him? He said, because I'm the only one who knows where he's going to be and exactly what he's going to do. Your God-ordained spouse already has the instructions from God of what he needs to do, who he needs to do it with, and what way it needs to be done. So she says, how do you know that though? You're wondering, how does he know all of these things? It's a connection with God because he's already gotten the instructions from God. He said, let's just say the government has a special device that helps me know what's going to happen ahead of time. God is the one conveying the message to your God-ordained spouse that's helping him understand, just like he does you through visions, dreams, fasting, prayer, all of this. However, God talks to him in a secret place. That's how he's getting the instructions. So, it says, then how come you didn't know I was going to pull a gun on you? How come you didn't know I was going to pull a gun on you? He said, I did know. He trying to be funny. Some of you God-ordained spouses in the pressure of this situation, they're going to break it up with humor. Some of you already know your God-ordained spouse is funny anyway. But they're going to try to break up the stress and the pressure with humor. I already know my God-ordained spouses are like this. He's like, nah, I didn't know nothing. They both sitting there laughing. You're going to be laughing. Your God-ordained spouse is going to make you laugh. For what did God say to Sarah to name her son Isaac? Because he said that he made the person laugh. He'll make you laugh. They have a moment, and she starts throwing away the gauze in the trash, and then he has a moment where he realizes, wait, when I was checking the crime scene that day, I saw the bloody tissue gauze, and he sees the glass that he just put down that had his fingerprints on it, and he sees something else that was there, and he says, oh no, Jesus, I didn't change anything. And she said, what? He said, we gotta go. Your God-ordained spouse understands that spiritually there's a certain pattern, and if he doesn't break that pattern, because that's the point, it needed to come to break the pattern. His biggest assignment is to break this sequence pattern of the same event cycling over and over again. Some of you have been stuck in a cycle. And this is the point of breaking that cycle, which is going to break you through to the promised land. But he has to change the event in order for the cycle to be broken. Okay? So, She's like, what's wrong? She's like, what's wrong? What's going on? Why we gotta go? Why we gotta go right now? Her friend calls and he says, I can prove to you that your friend Beth is worried about you. When you didn't call after your date last night, she's calling to see if everything's okay. He said that over her part of the message, and as soon as he stopped talking, Beth comes on the phone saying, hey, girl, I was calling you to see how your date went last night. Are you okay? I was a little bit worried about you. I hadn't heard from you. And she's like, she picks the phone up and said, hey, I got somebody here. I got to go. I'll call you back. So she hangs up. And that's when he also realizes that's the exact message that she left on his answering machine. Or the answering machine when he found the message. So, understanding that, she asked him while looking at the clock, why not just tell the police though, and they can pick him up? Ooh, I forgot to look at the clock time. Dang. What I'll do is, I have a feeling this is going to be another part because we only got 2 more minutes in this one. I need to go back and look at the clock time, and I got it. To find out what that number means. So she picks up. Okay, she already picked up. He tells her that this man is going to detonate the bomb, and he can't know until the very last minute that they are going to defuse it because he's coming on a motorcycle to watch on the bridge. This is an imperative time because of the fact that your enemy is at the bridge. You're in the crossover point, but the enemy is going to be on the bridge to prevent you from getting across. You and your spouse need to get to that promised land point. You and your spouse need to destroy the block, the bomb, the attack that the enemy is attempting to send to obstruct, derail, destroy, destruct, oppress, depress you. But he is the strong man. But his position needs to be broken in order for you to truly cross over at this point. So I'm going to come back for the next one.